Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our PointCentral Administration website series. First, we'll get started with our housekeeping and legal disclaimer. I'll leave this up for a minute and let you read through it. Next, if you have any questions related to this webinar, you can use the chat feature in the GoToWebinar, and one of the consultants we have on the call with us will answer you. Any other questions can be answered with our dedicated customer service at calixdcs@calixsoftware.com. I'll be your presenter today. My name is Derek Young. I'm a professional consultant and trainer at Calix. On today's agenda, we'll be covering deleting the Cardex database out of your PointCentral admin website. We'll be covering the different types of point fields that are available to use in the PointCentral admin website. We'll talk about the different items that you can import into the PointCentral admin website. We'll talk about maintaining your folder maintenance, also your template set maintenance, the PointCentral Services tab, the Help tab, and also the Forgot Username and Password that is available now on the home screen of the PointCentral admin website. So let's go ahead and jump into our PointCentral admin website so we can get started. All right, so we're back in our PointCentral admin website, and we're actually going to pick up where we left off. So heading over to our navigation panel, I'm going to select the option for configurations. And in our last series, we did go over the configurations and the parameters section, but this time we'll be starting with the Delete Cardex database. As a reminder, the Cardex database for Point is an electronic database that contains information about companies users interact with when processing a loan file. You can use the Cardex database entries to populate Point company name or address fields in different sections in Point. You can also create a Cardex database from information you've already entered in certain Point fields, or by entering the company's information into the Cardex database manually. Another crucial thing to note before you delete a Cardex database from your PointCentral admin website is that if your users have access to the Cardex database on your PointCentral admin website, this allows you to see the entries that they enter into the Cardex database and allows everyone to share those Cardex database entries throughout your organization. If they do not have access to the Cardex database on the server, then by default, their entries in Cardex database will be stored on their local C drive. So it'll be their own individual personal Cardex database that they would be updating and uploading entries to. So if you do have users connected to your PointCentral database on the server and you have multiple Cardex databases, you do want to be sure that you are deleting the correct Cardex database before you delete it. And again, that would be done under the configurations and the Delete Cardex database tab. Deleting the Cardex database in Calix PointCentral involves removing all records within the Cardex. It's important to note that unlike data folders and templates, deleting the Cardex database will permanently remove all records within it. If you need to keep a copy of the database entries, you should export the Cardex records before deleting it. If you ever need assistance with deleting or merging or importing or exporting Cardex databases within your PointCentral admin website, you can simply visit our calixsoftware.com website. And in our PointCentral knowledge base article section, you can just type in the words Cardex. And once I hit enter, this will give you all of the KB articles and videos Cardex related. So we've got printing out Cardex database, exporting Cardex database records out of Outlook, exporting Cardex records and creating mailing labels, copying Cardex, importing Cardex, and so forth and so on. So again, this will help you with anything that you need to do with your Cardex database and your PointCentral admin website. All right, so I'll hop back into Point just to show you how easy it is to export your Cardex database out of your software. So inside of Point, we will navigate to the Utilities option in the menu bar. And under Utilities, we'll select the first option for Cardex database. When your Cardex database pulls up, in the top left-hand corner, we do have the option for File. If we click on File, you see that we have an Export option, which is the third one down. And once we click Export, we'll get the Export Custom ASCII pop-up box. And here is where you would export your Cardex database out of the software. Now back to our PointCentral admin website. All right, so now we can head back over to our next item, which is going to be the point fields. So we'll navigate back over to the configuration option. And this time we'll select the option for point fields. And as you can see, we have 3 point fields. We have supported fields, custom fields, and additional fields. So starting with the supported fields. Supported fields include all commonly used fields that come predefined within the software. These fields are essential for standard operations and reporting. To view a complete list of all your supported fields, you can log into your PointCentral admin website and navigate to the configurations option, the point fields, and the supported field screens that we're currently looking at now. And here's some key points about supported fields. Supported fields can include commonly used fields, which are standard fields that are frequently used in loan origination and processing. They can also include built-in report fields. These are fields that are included in the default reports provided by PointCentral. They also include report macros. These are fields used in custom reports and macros. And they can also include custom screen fields. These are fields that can be added to the custom screens for additional data capture. So supported fields are fields that are already supported by PointCentral upon the installation of the software. Moving back over to our configuration tab and point fields, the next set of point fields we have are our custom fields. So for our custom fields, these are user-defined fields that allow you to capture additional information not covered by the standard fields. Here's how you can define and manage custom fields. Number one, the creation. This allows you to create custom fields through the PointCentral administration site by navigating to the configurations, point fields, and custom fields section where we are now. Field IDs. Each custom field requires a unique field ID, which you assign during a creation process. Usage. Custom fields can be incorporated into custom forms, reports, and data exports, providing flexibility to tailor the software to your specific needs. And lastly, synchronization. After creating custom fields, a full synchronization is necessary to ensure all users have access to the updated fields. So as you can see here on this screen, we do have a Rebuild Custom Fields button, and you can see by default we have this blue checkbox check for full synchronize or full force sync. So if you ever need to perform a full force synchronization on your server, specifically after you have added additional custom fields, or you might be having some issues with reporting or adding fields to your custom forms, that's an indication that your field ID list needs to be rebuilt, and also an indication that you need to perform a full force synchronization. So if you just need to rebuild your custom fields list, you can do so by unchecking the full force synchronization box, and you can rebuild your custom list. If you need to perform a full force synchronization, which is typically what you would need to do when there is something wrong with your field IDs or you add any additional field IDs, then you do want to perform a full force synchronization after hours when no one is working inside of Point. All right, so custom fields are meant to enhance the customization capabilities of Calyx Point, making it easier to manage unique data requirements. Now, those of you who are not familiar with custom screens inside of Point, let me jump back into Point and show you how to create one. So I'm now back inside of Point, and I want to build out a custom screen. Well, to do that, we'll navigate to the Utilities option in the menu bar. And if we scroll down, we'll have a section for Custom Screen Settings. Once I click on the Custom Screen Settings, this allows me to name my screen, whatever I want to name my screen. And then you'll see that we have three sections here. One for field name, one for field type, and one for drop down. Okay. The field name is what you actually want to call the field that you want to put data in. The field type allows you to adjust what type of field it is, whether it be currency, percentage, a date field, a phone number field, social security, or a drop down field, which we're currently on. With the drop down field, this will actually be a drop down field on your custom screen, which will allow you to select from the options that you choose to put in this section here. Over to the far left, these are the different fields that you can create. So currently I am on Screen Test Zenly FE. My first field is for my cosigner, and it is a drop down list. And in my drop down list, you can choose between the options of yes or no. For my second field, my question is, what is the name of your lender? And this field happens to be a text field. So this means I'll be able to type the name of my lender in manually. Field 3 here, I have not named, and it is disabled. So this means on this custom screen, I have two fields that I've customized. So if I hit OK, and I want to view my custom screen, then what I'll do real quick is I will go into a loan file, And once in the loan file, I'm going to navigate to the Forms option in the menu bar. And if I scroll down to the very bottom here, there's going to be a section for our custom screens/fields. And here it will list all of the custom screens that you've made. And you can see our Test Zenly FE screen that we were just adjusting. So I'm going to click on that. And this brings you to the custom screen for my Test Zenly FE. And as you can see, it has the two fields that I enter in on the custom field screen. And the first field for the cosigner is a drop down. And in this drop down, we'll see that yes and no, as I showed you that we can add in the custom field section. And then the second field was what is the name of your lender, which allows you to come in here and manually type the name. And I'll go ahead and select the option in this first drop down. Okay. Now, if I were to hit save, let's say that you wanted to report on these fields or add these fields to a custom form that you imported inside of Point. That's where those custom field IDs are going to come into play. So each field that you create on a custom field comes with its own field ID number. So to see what the field ID numbers are for these custom fields, what we can do is navigate to the Utilities option in the menu bar. From here, we'll scroll down to the very bottom where it says Load Field ID. And in this little second pop-up box, we want to be sure that we click Borrower. What this does is bring up all of the field IDs inside of the Point software. Okay, so as you can see, everything here has changed to a field ID number inside each field. So we'll navigate back to the Forms tab, and we'll scroll back down to our custom screens and fields. We'll select the option for our Test Zenly FE. And as you can see, these two fields on this custom screen have their own field IDs. 9900 for the cosigner and 9901 for our question, what is the name of your lender? So you can use these field IDs to plug this information into a Calyx report or merge this into a custom form or document that you've imported into the system. Now, moving back to our configurations tab and back to our Point fields, the last selection we have in here is the additional fields. So with additional fields, these are user-defined fields that allow capturing information not included in standard fields. And here are some important details about additional fields. First, we have custom definitions. You can define up to 100 additional fields that are not included in the standard or supported fields. Next, we have field IDs. Each additional field requires a unique field ID, which you can assign when creating the field. And next, we have the configuration. To add an additional field, you need to access the PointCentral administration site and navigate to the configuration Point Fields additional field screens where we're currently located now. And then lastly, with additional fields, we still have the synchronization. After adding new fields, a full synchronization is required to ensure all users have access to the updated fields. These additional fields allow for greater flexibility and customization, enabling you to tailor the software to better meet your specific needs. All right, so let me hop back in Point so I can show you when you would have to add an additional field to your PointCentral admin website. So I'm back in Point. I'm inside of a loan file. I'm actually on the borrower information screen. And down here at the bottom, you see that we have some buttons that you can click on: personal info, contact info, mortgage insurance, so forth and so on. I'm going to click on the contact info. Okay. So this section can be used for contact information, or it can be utilized to have your own custom fields that you would like to merge into a report or into one of your custom forms. So if we wanted to see what the field ID numbers for these fields in the contact information section, we would cancel this box and navigate to the utilities option in the menu bar. We'll scroll down to the load field ID and choose the option for borrower. And that way we can see all of the field IDs that we have within inside a Point. So now that we see those field IDs, we can go back down and click on that contact info button. And as you can see, each of these fields does have a designated field ID number. Now, all these field ID numbers are not supported. Some of them need to be added to your PointCentral admin website so you can use them in a report or merge them onto a custom field. One of those field IDs would be the secondary referral source, or 5460. So let's go ahead and add an additional field to our PointCentral admin website. All right, so back on the PointCentral admin website, the first field is for field ID. we're going to enter in that field ID number that we saw inside a point, and that was 5460. Once you put in the field ID, the next field is for the description. This is actually what the name of the field is going to be. Okay, I want this one to be called referral. Okay, so once you have your field ID number and the description, then you're going to come over and click the Add Field Definition button. And as you can see, your website will tell you the new field definition has been added. So now that field can be utilized, as you can see up here, 5460 can now be utilized in any report that you want to run inside a point, or any custom form that you want to merge that field onto so you can see the data populate onto it. So that is going to be what your additional fields are for. All right, so moving on to our next item, we'll go back to the Configurations tab, and this time we're going to click on the Import. So importing refers to the process of bringing in external data into the PointCentral server. This can be useful for integrating data from other servers or batch processing large amounts of information. And here are the items that you're able to import into your PointCentral admin website. The first one is the Cardex database. This process allows you to seamlessly integrate Cardex records into PointCentral, ensuring that all necessary data is available within the system. You then have your data folders. This process ensures that your data is centralized and accessible within PointCentral, streamlining your workflow and improving data management. Template sets. This involves transferring template collections from your local system or another server into the PointCentral website. This process ensures that your templates are centralized and accessible within PointCentral, enhancing the efficiency and consistency across your organization. Users from file. This enables you to efficiently incorporate several users' accounts into the system. It's especially beneficial for onboarding new users or transferring existing users' data. This approach simplifies the user's addition process, enhancing efficiency and minimizing the risk of manual entry mistakes. And lastly, user from folder. This process entails moving users' accounts from a designated folder into the system. It is beneficial for migrating current user data or officially establishing multiple user accounts. This approach simplifies the user addition process, enhancing efficiency and minimizing the risk of manual key entries. All right, so moving on to our next item, which would be folder maintenance. Folder maintenance involves managing data folders within the system to ensure they are organized and accessible. These maintenance tasks help keep your data folders organized and ensure smooth operation within PointCentral. One of the key components is the synchronization. Synchronization ensures that data folders are up to date and consistent across the system. This process is crucial for maintaining data integrity and accessibility. Regular folder maintenance synchronization helps prevent data discrepancies and ensures that all users are working with the latest information. Folder maintenance synchronization involves updating the data folders on the PointCentral server to reflect any changes made by users. This ensures that all users have access to the most current data. All right, so let's head back to the Configurations tab, and we'll go back to our folder maintenance, and this time we'll click the option for Switch to Conventional. Now, switching to conventional refers to the process of changing a data folder from being managed by PointCentral to being managed locally on a user's machine. This can be useful for troubleshooting or when you need to work with data folders offline. Switching to a conventional mode allows users to work with data independently of the PointCentral server, which can be helpful in certain scenarios. So this is a list of data folders that are currently enabled and visible to all my users inside of my Point software that have access to these data folders. If I wanted these data folders not to be visible at all to any of my users, let's say it's one of my archive data folders, and I just didn't want it in the drop-down list. Well, what I could do is I could switch it to conventional. I'll come over here and click the switch to conventional. Up here at the top, it will ask, are you sure if you want to switch this data folder to conventional? And it'll let you know that all access rights to this folder will be removed. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And once you hit OK, your system will tell you that the data folder has been switched to conventional, and you no longer see that archive 2022 on the list. Okay, but that does not mean that the data folder is gone and is deleted permanently. If I wanted to bring that data folder back and make that visible or enabled for everyone to see on the server, then I will go back to my configuration section, go back down to folder maintenance, and go to the Synchronization tab. This is a list of all of the data folders that I have switched to conventional. So the one that I just switched to conventional was the Archive 2023. So if I wanted to have that data folder visible and enabled again, I can come here and click the checkbox. And then I would come down here and click the Synchronized checked. Up here, it's asking, are you sure you wish to synchronize the selected folder? I'm going to hit OK. And once I do that, if I go back to my configurations, folder maintenance, switch to conventional, we see our Archive 2023 folder is now back and is visible to all users who have access or permissions to view this data folder. All right, so let's head back over to our configuration section and we'll talk about the last item in this drop down, which is the template set maintenance. So template set maintenance involves managing and updating the template sets used within the system. So as you can see, we do have 3 subcategories for template set maintenance, and the first one is template types. For template types on this screen, you will find the list of supported template types. The file types listed within each template type subdirectory are the supported template file types used by Point. The subdirectory column is the subdirectory within the template set on the PointCentral server where files related to the template type are located. The Point screen location column indicates at least one place in Point you can edit or use a template of that type. If we go back to our configurations tab and template set maintenance and copy template set. On this screen, you can copy from a template set to one or more destination template sets by selecting the template types to copy. Any options, the destination template sets, and clicking the copy to selected or copy into all button. Use the deleted destination template files before copy option when you want an exact copy of the source without any of the previous destination content. You may want to rebuild template set after copy on your last copy into the destination template set. All right, so let's head back up to our navigation panel and go back to our configurations tab, our template set maintenance, and this time we'll talk about the switch to conventional. Now this works in the same way as switching to conventional for data folders does. Switching to conventional mode allows users to work with templates independently of the PointCentral server, which can be helpful in certain scenarios. Our next item is the PointCentral Services. Point connects with PointCentral through the PointCentral Services. This service is meant for communication with Point, not for web browsing. You can use a web browser to check if the PointCentral service is active. To verify that PointCentral Services is running, click the link below. You do not need to read the rest of the page. If you get an error when trying to access this page, like the page cannot be displayed or the page cannot be found, it means PointCentral Services is not running or has a problem, and you want to contact your server hosting company to resolve. Now the last option that we have over here is the help option. On the help screen, supported resources for PointCentral can be found on this page. Basic requirements for system administration, domain name services or DNS, and Microsoft SQL Server are necessary for installation and management. Some support materials provide a brief overview of these topics. For further details on these areas, which are not directly supported by Cardex software, please consult with your IT staff or other available resources. Note, the PointCentral knowledge base provides references to some resources from other organizations that you may find useful but are not officially endorsed by Cardex software. The online PointCentral knowledge base has the latest support information in a searchable, easy-to-use interface. The PointCentral knowledge base includes the PointCentral installation and configuration manual, frequently asked questions or FAQs, and technical articles. All right, and before we conclude our last series of our PointCentral admin website, I do want to cover our last item, which is the forgot username and password located on the login screen of your PointCentral admin website. So back on the PointCentral admin website on the sign-in screen, you'll notice the forgot username and password link. This link can only be used by the initial or primary admin. If the secondary admin forgets their username or password, then the primary administrator will need to log into the PointCentral admin website and update the secondary admin's password or username for them. However, if the primary administrator forgets their username or password, they can click on the forgot username and password link, So that's what I'll do now, is click on the Forgot Username and Password. Once you do that, you'll be presented with the Login Retrieval Wizard. This is asking you to enter in your SQL Server username and your SQL Server password. As a reminder, this will be the same information that you used in the PointCentral Configuration Wizard. So I'll enter in my SQL username, and then I'll enter my SQL password. And once you have entered those credentials, you'll click Next. When we hit Next, it proceeds with the Retrieval Wizard, and now it's asking us to enter in the initial admin's username, the initial admin's password, and then to confirm the initial admin's password. Note, at this point, if you hit cancel or back, it will not make any changes. You will need to hit Next until you complete the wizard before any changes will be made. Also note that the password parameters have not changed. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact our dedicated customer service at calixdcs@calixsoftware.com.